Hello everyone, Christina Werner here. Welcome to another live crafting video at my YouTube channel. Thanks so much for joining me tonight. For tonight's live stream, I thought I would use, well, specifically, this is what I wanted to use. This is the Just My Type Friend stencil set. It has 4 stencils in it. This is one that I designed and I have yet to try it out. So I thought, let's try this together tonight. And there is a matching die set so that you can cut out the finished greetings once you've stenciled all of the color on. So let's get going. Actually, before we get going, big thank you to all of you who joined the membership here at my channel in the last week. I'm so happy to have you here. The very first member-only live stream is this Wednesday. So if any of you were interested in joining the membership and seeing some of those exclusive live streams, a couple times a month I'll hop on and basically you guys will be watching me as I create a video for my channel. We can talk back and forth. I can answer some questions, give you a little more detail. And then later I will edit that video footage and put it as a regular video. So those of you who are not members will still see that content at some point. But those who are part of the membership will see it first, and they'll get the opportunity to ask some questions and get some some interaction right away. And for those live streams, I'm going to try to focus them on things that take a little bit more time that normally I wouldn't slow down and spend so much time in a regular video. So things like no line watercoloring, Copic coloring, maybe some lettering on an envelope, something like that. That I can't always do in a regular video. So I hope you guys will join me. There's a link down below in the video description that says join membership, or if you're lucky enough on whatever device you're on, you might see a join button somewhere. Sometimes it doesn't show up. I can't figure out why, but sometimes it won't show up. So anyway, for today's card and envelope, let's get going. I'm going to start by taking out my stencils and get these out here. Like I said, there are 4 stencils. And you know what? When I did the kind of example of these words all together, I loved the color combo. So I just picked out some similar colors. So I've got Wisteria from Simon, Twirling Tutu. Some of these might even be discontinued, I'm not sure. Simon's slowly discontinuing these original ink colors, which makes me so sad because they're my favorite. I've got Cantaloupe, which is one of the newer colors, and then Goldilocks. I thought those were similar shades to what I used on the example of the layering stencils. So I thought, let's just go with that. All right, so for stenciling this, I'm using a stencil mat from Waffle Flower. It has this corner up at the top, and I thought that would be really nice to put the corners of the stencil right up there, and it'll help me get everything positioned just right. When I designed the stencils, I specifically wanted these dots in the corners so you could make sure that everything lines up perfectly. And when I stack these stencils in that top corner, it's great. Everything's lined up. So I'm not even going to worry about having to do anything kind of crazy. I cut out some white. Oh, whoa. Hello. Sorry. I cut out a 6x6 piece of Nina Classic Crest Solar White 80-pound cardstock. This is kind of my go-to all-purpose cardstock. This is the all-purpose flower of the cardstock world for me. So this is kind of like if my card or recipe needs white cardstock, most likely it's going to be this one. So I'm going to put that in that top corner up there. I'm going to take my first stencil, just as the top of each word, and I'll put that down right up there in that top corner. I'm going to try this again. I'm going to get those corners. Basically, I can only get those 2. All right, and I'll come in with just a little bit of ink this time. This ink pad isn't as juicy, so it works well. And now we're going to go on to Cantaloupe again, and this time I'm going to make sure to, oh yeah, that lines up better this time too. I'm going to make sure to kind of, I don't know what's the word is. I'm going to get some, like a Post-it note up here, and then I can kind of dab off my brush before I go in. In fact, maybe it might be helpful if I use a bigger brush this time. And I'm going to, okay. Yeah, that's going on a little better. It's not so concentrated with the ink. Making sure I go different rotations. Okay, let's hope this came out better this time. Oh, lots better. Lovely. All right, let's get this one going. I'm gonna line up my circles, my little dots over here. The next color is Twirling Tutu. Going in both directions. And really, I'm only going to be making one card today, or I planned to only make one card. But since it's so easy to get 2 greetings here, I'm actually going to be doing both. And the last color I'm using is Wisteria. I love this color. It's so pretty. So there is kind of another stencil set that's a similar style that was Christmas. I think it said Merry Christmas and Season's Greetings. And that one is Just My Type Christmas. It's a different font, but it's kind of the same idea. Like you've got like the 4 colors for the greeting. Really fun set. Okay, let's lift this up. Oh, that is really cute. I love that. So I have the coordinating dies. Okay, that looks about right. And I'll just run this through my die cutting machine. Okay. I've got my greetings all cut out, super fast and easy. Oh, that turned out so cute. It's so precise. I was worried about if it was going to be a struggle to get the dies lined up just right on that stenciled greeting, but it looks great. Okay. And I planned ahead, and I'm going to be using the Hello Friend on my main card. So I've already cut 3 more layers of that out of some 110-pound cardstock. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this down. All right, so I also discovered when I was gluing all these together, the fastest way to do this one, because it's so bold and really thick, was just to go ahead and start putting a bunch of glue down. And it will not, see how much glue I've got there? And it won't squidge out the edges. Okay, so that is a nice thick, she's a thick one, substantial greeting. I'm gonna put my Share Handmade Kindness glass paperweight on top. I'm going to do a little bit of a colorful pattern on the rest of the card. So I have this background stamp. This is the Flower Burst background stamp from Simon Says Stamp. I used this on a holiday card during the holiday card series, and I turned it into like a Christmas card. But today it's going to be more of like a friend, almost Valentine's Day card. So I went ahead and I stamped it and heat embossed it with gold embossing powder. I used the gilded color from Brutus Monroe. And I thought I would just use the same colors that I used for the greeting to kind of just blend on some color. And I'm just going to start blending in from this side here. So I like to watch out for products that are going to really lend themselves to making multiples of the same card. For example, that stencil set today, it did 2 greetings at the same time. So I'm just going to go ahead and make 2 cards at the same time. I'll do that quite a bit. Or if, let's say I'm doing like a bunch of like layering stamping, and it's kind of tedious to do all the stamping, I'm going to go ahead and just take the paper out of my MISTI, put another one in, and do it again since I've already got it on my MISTI. So that's what I like to do. Okay, so I'm coming in with Cantaloupe, and this is going to blend into that yellow. I'm thinking ahead that I'm going to be blending the pink kind of in this section, so I want a little bit of the cantaloupe to go up into that section. And I'm going to, like I mentioned, I'm going to have an overlap into the orange a little bit. And then it's also going to kind of extend a little bit past that area so that I can get a little bit of the purple. And I'm going to bring in this purple on this side. I love how that blends. What a pretty color combo. So I think I saw, I think it was Terrence in the comments said he would never think to put these colors together. And so I wanted to like give you guys a little bit of a behind the scenes on why I pick these colors and why I put them in this order. I knew I would be, well, for one thing, it was the order that was on the example on the packaging, right? But also when it comes to blending, I picked colors that would be next to each other on the color wheel. So yellow into orange, that I knew that would be a really great blend. Orange to pink or red, knew that would be a really great blend too. And then pink to purple or red to purple, those are next to each other on the color wheel as well. So I knew those would blend well together. Now, you don't have to have colors that are next to each other on the color wheel in order for it to look nice and blend together. Ink blending with blending brushes like this is very forgiving, and you can really almost blend any two colors together. Whether they look good together is another question, but you really can blend almost anything together. Okay, I'm taking a paper towel, and I've got a little bit of pink on there from something else, but I'm just gonna rub this over the top, and it's going to pick up any of that ink that might be on the embossing. You can see it kind of picked up some stuff right there. Just cleans it up a little. So now I have this really pretty gold embossed background, and I'm going to, well, for one thing, this is going to go on top. How cute is that going to be? Okay, I'm going to cut this down to like some smaller strips so that I can put it on my card. And the first thing I'm going to do is cut it to 5.5 square so that it's all the right width for my card. And it'll take off any of the, you know, where it ends. We'll take off all the edges. All right, so I want to get this band and this band up here. I'm thinking, let's see, I'm gonna get a card front. And if I'm putting my greeting right in the center, and I kind of want this to be about right there. I want it to be about that wide. How wide is that? That's about 1.5 inches, maybe a little bigger than that. Alrighty, so to 4.5 would be 1 inch, 1.5 inches. Let's go to right there. Yeah. All right, so now I've got this finished strip that I'm going to put on my card. I'm going to turn this around, and you know what, really, I could use almost every section of this. I love it so much. Okay, so 1 inch would be to right there, 1/2 inch would be to right there, and then I'm going 1 more 1/8. Okay, so now I have 2 strips for my 2 cards. And this right here is actually really pretty. I could probably get a 3rd card out of it. So I'm going to set that aside. The next thing I had planned was to add a little bit more gold to my card in just like a little scallop edge above this pattern right here. Just a little gold scallop edge just to kind of finish that off. So I have my gold matte cardstock from Simon Says Stamp, and then I've never used this die set. I don't even know if it's still available. I'm really hoping so because it's going to be a great way to use it today. The Slimline Scallop Frame, and obviously this is not a slimline card, but I'm going to use the largest frame, and then I can get 2 scalloped borders for my card. And they'll be perfectly straight when they're cut. And then I can also kind of save these other pieces for later. Now, my cutting plate here is really messed up and marred. So I'm actually going to use the clean cutting plate. This is cut on the other side, and I'll do that right there. And now when I run it through my die cutting machine, all of the gold will not have any marks in it. Okay, lovely. Oh, that edge is really cute too. Lots of pieces I could save from this. All right, so now I have 2 little scallop borders for each card. And I didn't waste a ton of gold cutting it out. I can save this for something else. I'm first going to adhere the stamped and embossed and ink blended, almost like patterned paper. I was thinking maybe I want to put the gold down first, but I like the width of that gold border, so I'm going to put it just like that. For this one, I'm going to use my liquid glue just because it's going to be a little too finicky to get in there with such a thin border. And I'll just do a little liquid glue. Maybe add a little dot of glue on each little scallop. Press that down onto the card. And if it hangs off the edge, I can just use scissors to lop off that end that's past the edge of the card. And I'll do it on this one too. So the hello friend's going to go right over here. And then the thank you is going to go right here. This is another tip for you. When you're going to be placing your die cut with tweezers, go ahead and put the tweezer on exactly how you want it for when you place it, and then flip it over and add your glue from there. So I'm just going to add some squiggles of glue. Okay. And then I'll be placing it right there. Okay. And then adhere that down right there. Thankfully, I have 2 paperweights, so I'll put both of those on. Okay. So while those are chilling, I'm going to start on my envelope. So I actually already made my envelope. I used the We Are Memory Keepers 123 punch board, and I created an A2 envelope out of some Neenah Classic Crest Solar White 80-pound cardstock. So that is the same cardstock I've been using all along, my all-purpose flower cardstock. And I did that so that everything would match, so that the envelope would take the ink exactly as I expect it to. I've tried some different white envelopes over the years, and they just don't take ink like a nice cardstock for a card would. So that's really what's bugged me. So I just decided to go ahead and make my own card. And the 80-pound cardstock is not too thick that it adds too much weight or bulk. It works out really great. So I've already created it, and I folded up the bottom flap, added a little bit of Lawn Fawn sticky tape, and then the envelope's ready to go. So what I was thinking for the envelope is we're going to go back to that flower stamp, and this time we're going to do some multicolor stamping. Now I'm using a background stamp, so I've removed the thick pad in my MISTI, and then I'm going to take my envelope and I'm going to put it on one of these sticky mats inside my MISTI, and that's so that I can really see where I'm stamping on this envelope. So I'm going to put it right there. Now, the width of the envelope is wider than the background stamp, unfortunately. So I am going to have to make sure I have it centered before I do all of my stamping. And I'm also going to remove that center from the stamp. And I'm just going to try to get it as centered as, the best that I can. And it's just not going to go all the way to the edge. But as long as it's pretty centered, it should be okay. Should be nice. All right, so there's my flowers. And I put down my magnet so it holds my envelope in place. Okay, hold on. I wasn't even thinking about this center area. But that's okay. The way we're going to be stamping this today is I'm trying to avoid the edges of the flowers. I want the main area of the envelope to be free from any stamping at all. So I'm going to do this in a very strategic way. I'm going to start with the yellow shade first, and I'm just going to kind of ink up kind of like one corner. And I'm not even going to worry about blending it out. I want it to just sort of end. See how that just kind of fades off? Okay, so that was the yellow. In fact, you know what? Maybe I'll do it in the opposite corner too. I'll just bring in some yellow ink, kind of similar to what we did with the ink blending, just that corner. All right, so now I've got just those two corners. I'm gonna go to the cantaloupe, and I can kind of see this middle flower right here is kind of like where I might want to transition a little bit. So I'm going to bring in that cantaloupe. This is going to be really juicy now that I think about it. Same thing over here. This flower right here is right here. So I know I can just bring in just a little bit of that cantaloupe. And hopefully it's not too dark. I think that's going to be great. Okay, a little bit of that cantaloupe color. Now I'm going to come in with Twirling Tutu. I'm not even bothering cleaning off my stamp. Frankly, it's going to kind of blend the colors a little bit, so it'll work to our advantage. All right, so this kind of transition right here is kind of where I'm thinking I'll go into the pink. And up here, kind of right in the center there, I'll just start to get that pink. All right, we'll stamp that. Get a little bit of that pink transition. And then onto the wisteria. So the last corner, and I think I'm going to have the pink be a good transition between the top and bottom. So I'm not going to worry about, you know, finish linking that up. Okay. Those last two corners, get that purple, perfect. And then I'm going to use the pink to kind of get those two to meet. Perfect. Okay, so now I have this center area for the address. And we're going to do our ink blending using the same colors on the envelope. One of the reasons why I wanted to blend on top of this kind of scratch paper is because the paper will absorb the ink right away, and then I'm not going to get any ink on the back of my envelope transferring. If I was using the stencil mat, there is a possibility of the ink kind of sitting on top of the stencil mat, on top of that kind of silicone texture, and then it would transfer to the underside, and I don't want that. So just to keep everything clean, I'm blending on top of some paper. I think you could have easily done this type of thing for the pattern paper that was on the envelope as well. Or, you know, you could have done the opposite. You could have done the gold embossing on the envelope and then, you know, just different ways to use the background stamp. I'm going to use, I thought this color would go really nice with what's going on here. And then I've got my little 37 stamp. Just because, well, it looks good, but also this is kind of thick. I don't think it's going to be too thick, but it's a little rigid. So, okay, so we're going to put the little tulip stamp. Let's make sure I'm doing the right. See, I had it upside down. I'm glad I checked. So we're going to do, let's see, yeah. Tulip stamp right there. I've got my little I love yous. I could also put that one in too if I wanted. I don't think I will. I'll just stick with this one. These were stamps that were out on my desk from earlier mail art envelopes for mail art month. And now let's pick just one more little stamp to go right there. This color just matches so well. Yeah, I'm gonna do the historic preservation. That's what I've got quite a few of those, and that's one of those stamps where I'm like, you'd have to have just the perfect envelope to make it match, you know? Jennifer Shock or Shoke, I'm not sure how she says her name, but that's the one we're doing today. Okay, we'll do that one right there, and then we'll put the last part down here at the bottom. Okay, make sure I get my pen working. Come in and erase all of the pencil lines. Distress microglaze is a way to help protect your envelope. It won't completely save it if it gets dropped into a bucket of water, but it will actually do quite a bit for making sure that the ink doesn't smudge or smear. Okay, so I use a mini round blending tool just to grab the distress glaze. And then as I apply it, I'm going to purposely avoid the stamps because it adds a slick surface. That's what kind of protects it from moisture. And the post office will still need to cancel those stamps. So they need to have, you know, have it not be slick when they do that. Okay. And the pen that I used, unfortunately, is discontinued or no longer sold, but it's waterproof, so I didn't need to worry about doing that on the back. So I'm going to take a paper towel after I've applied the glaze, and I'm just going to buff that in, and that really protects everything. All of the stamping and ink blending. So here are the finished card and envelope pieces for today. I love how this turned out. This was a great example of how to use that background stamp in different ways, both with ink blending, but with a different look, with the multicolor stamping and then the gold embossing over here. Same colors used for the greeting with that stencil set. That was a lot of fun too. I hope you guys picked up a lot of great tips to use for your crafting in the future. Just a reminder that I'm going to be doing a mail call tomorrow afternoon. I finally picked a time. I'm going to do it tomorrow afternoon. I think I'll do it at 2 p.m. Mountain Time. So if you want to come back for the live mail call for December, I'm so sorry it's so late in the month, but just had lots of stuff going on. So we'll do mail call tomorrow, and then I'll be back on Wednesday with another envelope for Mail Art Month. Thanks so much for joining me today, and I will see you guys next time.